Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining me here on the Entrepreneur. Uh, Last week's show was about entrepreneurship and relationships. Today's show is going to be about legal and entrepreneurship. So, we're going to go through some things that I'm going to read with you about these various entities, different business entities. Should getting your EIN and other stuff like that. Now, some of you is probably wondering, why is this guy laying on his bed? I'm gonna tell you why. My back is killing me, so I'm gonna relax here while I talk to you and I feel very comfortable right now. I just got a new mattress this Saturday, so I'm feeling very comfortable about it. I like to thank all those who liked uh, last week's video, who subscribed, and who shared the video. Thank you all for doing that, and please continue to do so and support the show. Also, before we go any further with the show, I want to I want to talk about something that happened, a tragedy that happened in Ethiopia yesterday. 200 people of the Amhara ethnic group was killed in Welga in the Oromo region of Ethiopia. They were slaughtered by, from what I understand and know, those who are members of the OLF organization, which is considered the Oromo Liberation Front. These evil, dark individuals are committing atrocities. I also stated in my Facebook page that I think it's time that Prime Minister Abiy and his government to be overthrown and be forced out of power. I mean, this has been going on since the time he's been in power. This is not the first atrocity and genocidal activities that's been going on in Ethiopia. This is basically a genocide of a certain ethnic group in Ethiopia. This cannot be allowed. For you to be a prime minister of a country and allow terrorist groups to roam free in the country without any worries of being prosecuted or face any of their crimes shows that the government itself is complicit. So therefore, I don't see no purpose of him and his administration ruling Ethiopia any further. I think it's time for Abiy and his government to go. They need to go, and I urge and I encourage those in the diaspora to do their bit in helping out those in Ethiopia during this time of crisis. What needs to be done here in the diaspora, you need to organize, mobilize, and resist. There needs to be a resistance movement against Abiy and his government. It also needs to be a resistance movement against the ethnic terrorist organizations as the OLF and the TPLF. Now, in the state I live in the city I live in, is Sioux Falls, South Dakota. You have a lot of supporters here who are supporters of the OLF and the TPLF. These supporters, I'm going to expose you. I'm going to expose you, you bastards. I'm going to expose you, let people know who you are and what you are. You also have a big OLF supporters in Minneapolis, Minnesota, St. Paul's, Minnesota, and Worthington, Minnesota. There's a whole lot of those bastards there. And you also have some TPLF in Worthington, Minnesota as well. Now you have a lot of TPF supporters also in Aurora, Colorado, Denver, Colorado. There's a lot of TPF supporters out there. You do have some in the East Coast, like in Washington, D.C. It's not a whole lot of them. You do have some in the West Coast. It's not a whole lot of them, but there's a whole lot of them generated in the Midwestern states. The ones I mentioned: South Dakota, Minnesota, and Colorado. What you need to do is expose these people for what they are. Supporters of ethnic terrorists needs to be exposed. And if possible, have them deported from this country. We don't need terrorists in this country, and the United States do not like terrorists. Let's get that established. Also, being a person who is of Ethiopian and African American descent, I encourage Ethiopians, as myself, who served in the United States Armed Forces, and those who have served in the Israeli Armed Forces and European Armed Forces, to join together, create a resistance organization to prepare to defend those who are in Ethiopia who's being killed because of their ethnic affiliations, and also too people not only because of their ethnicity are being killed, also people are being killed because they are Ethiopian Orthodox Christians. So they're being killed because of their religious affiliation as well. This needs to stop. We need to stop begging for others to help us. We need to handle this by ourselves. We need to, as I stated, we need to organize, mobilize, and resist. Also here, what I like to do, see this individual here? This individual is on Facebook, and this guy promotes a lot of ethnic terrorism. He's a member of the OLF. He encouraged others to go out into the Oromo region to go and kill those who are not Oromo, to commit acts of terrorism, commit acts of heinous, brutal crimes against non-Oromos. So he's on Facebook. You need to expose this bastard and let him know that we are watching you. Also, you have another individual. For my intelligence, because I do have an intelligence network I have in Ethiopia and here. So I don't think I don't know what you're doing. I know what you're doing, and I will have my eyes on you. You best believe it. Now this individual here, also, he's on Facebook. He is one of the individuals, from my intelligence resource, is one of the individuals who organized the massacre that happened yesterday of 200 Amhara citizens. Now I'm also hearing reports that in Williga region that some churches has been burned, some priests and the congregation of these Ethiopian Orthodox churches were killed. Okay, this needs to stop. Something needs to stop. People, I'm not against praying because I believe in God like everybody else. I believe, but God helps those who help themselves. So that means you got to get off your behind and do some work. You need to resist. You need to form an organization that will fight against this corrupt government and overthrow them, and also to fight against the ethnic terrorist groups like the OLF, the TPLF, and these other smaller ethnic based groups. They are ethnic terrorists. That's what they are. Let's not make it any less than what it is. They are ethnic terrorists, and they must be seen as such, and they must be brought to justice. They either be brought to justice. You can't bring them to justice by taking them to court because the government is going to release them. So you need to do where I grew up in the Bronx, New York. We consider street justice. That means you take care of the business on your own. You be the judge and jury and executioner. Okay, so this has to be done. We cannot have this prime minister and his government in power anymore. The mayor of Addis Ababa needs to also be removed. He's complicit with this buffoonery, and this needs to stop now. I urge all Ethiopians to organize, mobilize, and resist. This needs to be done. Okay, now for further ado, let's go into the show. Today's show is about legal and entrepreneurship. Now, a lot of people, when they start their business, they don't understand that you have to become a legal entity. You have to establish your business. It's not just okay. You get a brick and mortar store, and you open up a business, and oh well, I'm open up a business. I'm ready to go. There's a lot of things you have to do. You have to register your business. You have to get an EIN. If those don't know what that is, that's an employee identification number. You need to get your tax permit. Certain states you need to have that. There's a lot of things you need to know, but you have to establish your business entity. That has to be established. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into certain things and I'm going to explain certain things and I'm going to read them. Now, what I also encourage, even though I explain this stuff to you, what I also encourage you to do is to seek an attorney or an accountant to give you further legal advice on what you need to do. I'm just reading here the different options here, the different entities that you can do, but get legal advice to give you the help you need to make the decision on what entity that you should be and should not be. Choose what is beneficial for your company or for your business. Okay, now let me go into I'm going to explain a little bit what is an employee identification number. An employee identification number is a unique identification number that is assigned to a business entity so that it can easily be identified by the Internal Revenue Service. It is commonly used by employers for purpose of reporting taxes. So this is what you need. This is one of the things that you should consider getting for your business, an EIN that helps to identify your company. It also helps with the taxes. And this is basically what it does. Now, I recommend that you look up more information on the EIN and also go on the IRS website regarding EIN so it can give you a clear help and understanding of it and how to file. It's very easy to file. It's free to file, so you don't have to worry about that. Also, the EIN also is known as the Federal Tax Identification Number. When it is used to identify a corporation for tax purposes, it is commonly referred to as a tax identification number, a TIN. So that's another way of identifying it as well. Now we're going to go into, a lot of people don't know about this organization. Some people who start businesses don't know about it, but I have this. This is what is a Dun and Bradstreet. Now, Dun and Bradstreet is a corporation that offers information on commercial credit as well as reports on businesses. Most notably, Dun and Bradstreet is recognizable for its data universal numbering system. These generate business information reports for more than 100 million companies around the globe. Okay, so this is basically like, when you have your credit, you have the credit bureau that reports on your credit, reports on your credit standing, if you have good credit or not. This is similar, but this is for businesses. It reports on the credibility of the business credit. So, if someone wants to seek further information about your business, where you stand, and are you credible and stuff, you go to Dun and Bradstreet's website and you can find out this information. Okay? Excuse me. That's another thing that you should consider getting as well. Once again, you can consult to an attorney or an accountant and see if this is valuable to you. Now, another thing that you should consider getting is a sales tax license. I have a sales tax license for my business. That's pretty much easy to get as well. That you would have to go to your state attorney's website and apply for it. Okay, now sales tax license, also known as a sales tax permit or registration in some states, is an agreement with the tax state agency to collect and remit sales tax on items sold by your business. So that is what that is about. Now, you don't have to get it. It's up to you. Like I said, it's up to you. Once again, go to your Attorney General website. Usually they have things on there about businesses, how you can register your business, about sales tax. They have a lot of great information on there, so you should do that. Excuse me. Now, what I want to say, also before I move on to the next category here to discuss the different business entities, I like to say that, like I stated before, I like to thank a lot of people who put comments on my show. It's important because I do read the comments. What I'm going to start doing with that, I'm going to read some of these comments on the show. And even if there's positive or negative, I'm going to read the comments. Now, mind you, I'm letting you know offhand, if you if you decide to, let me just put some more lighting here. Okay, great. All right, I'm sorry for that. I'm gonna let you know, if you put some silly, ridiculous comment on the comment section, I'm gonna put you on blast. I'm letting you know right away before you even do that. Okay, so my advice to you, you can put comments on there that either agree with the show or you like the show, or even you can put some comments that you disagree, but they have to be disagreements that's professional, not some buffoonery, somebody acting like a clown. Because if you do that, I'm gonna put you on blast. I'll let you know right now. Okay, now let me go into choose a business structure. The business structure you choose influence everything from day-to-day operations to taxes to how much your personal assets are at risk. You should choose a business structure that gives you the right balance of legal protection and benefits. Okay? Now, I'm going to go into some of this various stuff. Now, let me just mention this here. Your business structure affects how much pay in taxes, your ability to raise money, the paperwork you need to file, and your personal liability. You need to choose a business structure before you register your business with your state. Most businesses will also need to get a tax ID number and file for the appropriate license and permits. Choose carefully. Why you may convert to a different business structure in the future, there may be restrictions based on your location. This could also result in a tax consequences and unintended dissolution, among other complications. Consulting with business counselors, attorneys, and accountants can prove helpful. Okay, so you hear that there, right? So like I stated before, you need to get either a business counselor, attorney, or an accountant that you consult with to figure out what you want to do as towards creating your business entity. Also, too, you know what? Go to if you having confusion on what you want to uh, fill out as towards a business entity, you can go to LegalZoom.com. That's a very good organization that helps people with legal documentations, and they go through it. They have great counselors there. They can give you advice and show you how to fill out your document. Now you're going to have to pay for this service, but it's worth the money. I didn't have to because I already knew how to do things on my own, so I pretty much research. You can also research this information as well, but seek advice if you're not sure. Okay, now sole proprietorship. That's one of the different business entities that you can start. That's one of the things that you can consider. Okay, now a sole proprietorship is easy to form and gives you complete control of your business. You've automatically considered to be a sole proprietorship if you do business activities but don't register as any other kind of business. Sole proprietorship do not produce a separate business entity. This means your business assets and liability are not separate from your personal assets and liabilities. You can be held personally liable for the debts and obligation of your business. Sole proprietors are still able to get a trade name. It can also be hard to raise money because you can't sell stock, and banks are hesitant to lend to sole proprietorships. Sole proprietorships can be a good choice for low risk businesses and owners who want to test their business idea before forming a more formal business. So this is one of the entities that you can consider doing and creating. Now it went into details, how the plus and the negative sides of it, but that's something that you can consider. That's something that you should look into and consider. Okay, now we're going to go into partnerships. That's another form of business entity that you should also consider. Excuse me. Partnerships are the simplest structure for two or more people to own a business together. There are two common kinds of partnerships: limited partnerships and limited liability partnerships. Limited partnerships have only one general partner with unlimited liability, and all other partners have limited liability. The partners with limited liability also tend to have limited control over the company, which is documented in a partnership agreement. Profits are passed through to personal tax returns and the general partner. The partner without limited liability must also pay self-employment taxes. Unlimited liability partnerships are similar to limited partnerships, but give limited liability to every owner. And LLP protects each partner for debts against the partnership. They won't be responsible for the actions of other partners. Partnerships can be a good choice for businesses with multiple owners, professional groups like attorneys, and groups who want to test their business idea before forming a formal business. Now that's another one that you consider, partnerships. Now if you have excuse me, more than one partners or individuals who's involved in your business, that's something that you should consider and look into. Okay, now here's what I am going to go into here. A LLC lets you take advantage of the benefits of both the corporation and partnership business structure. LLC protects you from personal liability. In most instances, your personal assets like your vehicle, house, savings accounts won't be at risk in case your LLC faces bankruptcy or lawsuits. Okay, so that's another one there. All right, so profits and losses can get passed through to your personal income without facing corporate taxes. However, members of an LLC are considered self-employed and must pay self-employment tax contributions towards Medicare and Social Security. LLCs can have limited life in many states. When a member joins or leaves an LLC, some states may require the LLC to be dissolved and reformed with new membership, unless there's already an agreement in place within the LLC for buying, selling, and transferring ownership. LLCs can be a good choice for minimum or high risk businesses owners and significant personal assets they want to be protected, and owners who want to pay a lower tax rate than they would with a corporation. Okay, because I have an LLC. So this is, I chose this because it best suits my business needs. You know, everyone has their own business needs that suits them. This one suits mine. Now you have a C corporation. Now that's another business entity that you should also think about having as well. A corporation, sometimes called a C corp, is a legal entity that separates from its owner. Corporations can make a profit, be taxed, and can be held legally liable. Corporations offer the strongest protection to its owners from personal liability, but the cost to form a corporation is higher than other structures. Corporations also require more extensive record keeping, organizational processes, and reporting. Unlike sole proprietorship, partnerships, and LLCs, corporations pay income tax on their profits. In some cases, corporate profits are taxed twice. First, when the company makes a profit, and again when dividends are paid to shareholders on their personal tax returns. Okay, so this is, if you want to go with the C Corp, you need to think about this. Corporations have completely independent life separate from its shareholders. If a shareholder leaves the company or sells his or her shares, the C Corp can continue doing business relatively undisturbed. Corporations have an advantage when it comes to raising capital because they can raise funds through the sale of stock, which can also be a benefit in attracting employees. Corporations can be a good choice of minimum or higher risk businesses, businesses that need to raise money, and businesses that plan to go public or eventually be sold. So that's another thing. Excuse me. That's another thing that you can consider as a C corp. You know, that may benefit you if you have a larger company or something of that excuse me, of that nature. That's something that you could consider. And you know, once again, as I always stated, seek legal advice. Now, S corp. An S corporation, sometimes called an S corp, is a special type of corporation that designed to avoid the double taxation drawback of regular C corp S corp allow profits and some losses to be passed through directly to owners' personal income without ever being subject to a corporation tax rate. Not all states tax X corps equally, but most recognize them the same way the federal government does and taxes the shareholders accordingly. Some state tax S corps on profits above a specific limit, and other states don't recognize the S corp election at all, simply treating the business as a C corp. Okay, because that's what you need to know. Because some states will not recognize this S corp, so they will treat them as if they are a C corp. So you need to be mindful of that. There are special limits on S corp. S corp can't have more than 100 shareholders, and all shareholders must be U.S. citizens. You'll still have to follow strict filing and operational processes of a C Corp. S Corps also have an independent life just like C Corps. If a shareholder leaves the company or sells his or her shares, the S Corp can continue doing business relatively undisturbed. S Corps can be a good choice for a business that would otherwise be a C Corp but meet the criteria to file as a S Corp. Okay, so that's one of the different entities that you can also consider and look into. Like I stated, look into these things. Get advice or legal advice. Um, get an attorney. These are things you should look into. Uh, Now, a B Corp. Let's go into what a B Corp is. A benefit corporation, sometimes called a B Corp, is a for-profit corporation recognized by a majority of United States. B Corps are different from C Corps in purpose, accountability, and transparency, but aren't different in how they are taxed. Okay, B Corps are driven by both mission and profit. Shareholders hold the company accountable to produce some sort of public benefit in addition to a financial profit. Some states require B Corps to submit annual benefit reports that demonstrates their contribution to the public good. Okay, there are several third-party corp certification services, but none are required to a company to be legally considered a B Corp in a state where the legal status is available. Okay, now that's that's another entity that you can consider the B Corp. It sounds similar to a non-profit to a certain degree, but there is some differences there. Also, let's go into a closed corporation, what a closed corporation is. Okay, a closed corporation resembles B Corps, but have a less traditional corporate structure. These shed many formalities that typically govern corporations and apply to smaller companies. State rules vary, but shares are usually barred from public trading. Closed corporations can be run by a small group of shareholders without a board of directors. Okay, so that's that's what it is with a closed corporation. Okay, now also let's go into what a non-profit corporation is. You have some people who prefer to go with the non-profit corporation because they're in cahoots with that, but they don't know how or what a nonprofit, those who's trying to start out and to create a nonprofit organization. All right, so let's go into what a nonprofit corporation is. Non-profit corporations are organized to do charity, education, religious, literary, and scientific work. Because their work benefits the public, nonprofits can receive tax exempt status, meaning they don't pay state or federal taxes, income taxes on any profits it makes. Okay? Nonprofit corporations need to follow organizational rules very similar to a regular C Corp. They also need to follow special rules about what they do with any profits they earn. For example, they can't distribute profits to members or political campaigns. Nonprofits are often called 501c3 corporations, a reference to the section of the Internal Revenue Code that that is most commonly used to grant tax exempt status. Okay, so that's what a nonprofit corporation is. Okay, now we're going to go into the last one, a cooperative. So we're going to explain what a cooperative is. Now, before I do that, let me just get up here and I just want to open these blinds up just a little bit here. You know, like I said, this show is live. This is raw and uncut. So, you know, I this is how I do things. You know, I don't have a problem with that. And I hope you don't either. If you do, get lost. All right. Now let's excuse me. Let's go on what a cooperative is. A cooperative is a business or organization owned by and operate for the benefit of those using its services. Profits and earnings generated by the cooperative are distributed among the members, also known as user owners. Typically, an elected board of directors and officers run the cooperative, while regular members have voting power to control the direction of the cooperative. Members can become part of the cooperative by purchasing shares, though the amount of shares they hold does not affect the weight of their vote. Okay, so these are the things you need to know about. These are the different business entities that you should consider if you want to start your business. And before you do that, you need to know what type of business you want to do. Once you establish that, then you need to know what type of entity that you want to do. Okay, and then also I would recommend that you get your Dun and Bradstreet because you want to have a credit rating. And that also helps. Your Dun and Bradstreet also helps in various other ways. You can look up Dun and Bradstreet. Also consider getting your EIN, your employee tax identification number. So you need to consider that as well. Let's just recap on what we were talking here. Sole proprietorship, one person, unlimited personal liability, personal tax only. A partnership, 2 or more people, unlimited personal liability unless structured as a limited partnership. Self-employed tax exempt for limited partners, personal tax. Limited liability company, LLC, which I am. 1 or more people, owners are not personally liable. Personal tax or corporation tax. Corporation C Corp, 1 or more people, Owners are not personally liable. Corporate tax. Corporation, C Corp. One or more people, but no more than 100, and all must be U.S. citizens. Owners are not personally liable. Personal tax. Corporation, B Corp. One or more people. Owners are not personally liable. Corporate tax. Corporation, non-profit. Owners are not personally liable. Tax exempt by corporate profits, can't be distributed. Okay, so these are the different entities that you should consider. Okay, now let me just share something here with you. I'm going to share some things with you, okay? Now, this is here. I don't want you to see my number here. This is my EIN, what I received from the IRS. This is what the IRS gives you. My EIN number is on here. So I use this to identify my business for tax purposes, and it also helps with exemptions and certain things. I would recommend you get it, but once again, seek legal advice. Also here, this is my sales tax permit that I received from the state of South Dakota. Okay, so that's that's something that you should get, especially if you're here in South Dakota or any other state. Okay. Now, let me also share with you. Let's go with here. Okay, great. Okay, this is my certificate of organization. This is what I received from the state of South Dakota, which recognized my business as a LLC. So you need to get this. Well, I wouldn't say get an LLC, but you need to register your business in the state that you're in. Okay. Also, let's share one more thing here with you. Be patient. Be patient. Okay, great. Now, this is my Dun and Bradstreet number. You do get a number from Dun and Bradstreet to identify your business. Okay, this is what I have. Excuse me. Sorry. I'm not going to share you my number, but this is what I get from Dun and Bradstreet. You can print it out. You can go to their website and print out your number. So these are the things that you need to consider if you're going to start a business. Once again, seek legal advice from a business counselor or an attorney or an accountant. These are things that you should consider and look forward to. Now, like I said, I thank everybody I had a lot of great feedback with episode 3, which was about entrepreneurship and relationship, which was last week. I thank everybody for looking into the show, and I had received some personal comments, and not just on the YouTube comments, but some people email me, and some people that I know call, and then a lot of people emailing and said they like the information. I hope this was helpful for you. I hope this was able to give you an idea on what you should do when you consider starting to open a business. These are things that you must consider, and these are things you should be doing if you have a legal, legitimate business. Now, once again, these are the legal laws and what you should consider in the United States. Each country have their own laws and how you register your business and how you operate your business. So those of you who live in Canada or continent of Africa or Europe or South America or in the Caribbean, follow your laws of your particular country to legalize your business. But once again, thank you for joining the Entrepreneur. I enjoy sharing this information with you. I hope my back get a little bit better. I'm enjoying this. Next week is going to be about networking. Networking is very important for an entrepreneur. It opens so much doors for you. I kid you not, it does. It helped me out a lot. This week I got a lot. I have some potential clients that's interested in doing business with. I'm glad to be talking to these individuals. As I said, I'm going to go through my journey and I'm going to share some things with you. And I hope what I share helps you out to become a successful entrepreneur in your own right. So once again, click the like button. Also, not only you click the like button, also subscribe to the show. Also click the notification so you know when another video comes out. And share this video. I recommend it. And once again, I thank all those who support my show. And let me state this before I go. Make that money and prosper. Wow.